Hey there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. I'm your host, Patsun, and today we're gonna be taking a look at r/slash cheating exposed, where OP's wife had an affair just 3 months into their marriage. Let's begin. A bit over 2 weeks after D-Day, wife cheated, wanted to divorce ASAP, started relation with affair partner even before I knew about the affair. Posted by Reddit user Outrageous Quail.
It's going to be a long post. I've been lurking this Reddit channel for the past 2 months, reading other people's stories, learning from them, and feeling other people's emotions. I wasn't sure if I should post mine, and there is even a chance that the X and the AP may actually read this, but maybe it will help others as well. There is another thread I started not long after I found out, while I was still confused on r/marriage, which got picked up by another channel and actually made fun because of different reasons. But let me write things here as well. It helps me to externalize my feelings when writing. Me and my wife have been married for 10 years and in a relationship for another 5. I always thought that we have a good relation, and while it indeed became a bit monotonous, I considered it a sign of stability and maturity, with no dramas, no conflicts, and no real problems. We both earn significantly over the average income, have a great apartment in a great neighborhood, no financial struggles whatsoever. We were going on holidays, trying to go out at least once every 2 weeks. I always supported my wife in her career, helped with the household, took care of our child. We have a child together, helped with cooking, said I love her, and she said it back. She always said that I am a great husband and a great father. About 3 months ago, after returning from a business trip, she bought me a gift with a message saying that she loves me. She was having regular business trips for the past 8 or 9 months, about a week every month and a half. But that was not unusual for her job. Fast forward 2 months ago, when I started to see some strange behaviors after her last business trip. Something was off. At first I thought that it is all in my head, but there were more and more signs. Hiding her phone screen from me when using it, using the phone late in the night, using the phone as soon as she woke up, and immediately going out of bed when I woke up. I could not take it anymore, and after a few days like this, I found proof. She had sex with another man in the last business trip she went. It was her manager, also married and 13 years older than us. In my initial post, I said that the age difference is 15 years, since that is what I knew at the time, and who lives in another country. I was devastated, but I thought to myself, it was a stupid mistake. We love each other. We can work things out. So I confronted her. Yes, I was crying. And this is when things went from bad to the worst. Yes, I cheated on you. I've been asking questions about us, and I am unhappy. I love the other guy, and I want a divorce. I want something new, different, exciting, all in the first 5 minutes of our discussion. I was devastated, bullet after bullet aimed straight at my heart. I could not comprehend what was actually happening. I could not understand how things went downhill so fast, and so much that not only was she saying all those things, she did not even want to try to solve our problems. She did not want to try anything to make things work or to try to save the marriage. She actually started a new relationship with the AP even before I confronted her, and they had already discussed plans. For the next 2 or 3 days, I pushed and insisted on talking, me trying to make a sense of things. I heard many things from her, like she saying things among the lines of, I always kept thinking that this is it. This is the highest of my life, and it will be like this forever. I want more, something exciting, something new. I've always been the perfect pupil, the perfect student, marrying my university boyfriend, having a child, having a career. Is this it? To things that degraded me, like, I started to see you less of a man, or staying with you means I have to settle, comparing me to her father, saying that I should have seen signs, despite her pretending everything was okay, that it was also my fault. Things ended up like this, and many more. Some are partially true. Most are exaggerated. I was devastated and could not wrap my head around the situation. How could she have been so unhappy and there were no signs? We never discussed about such problems. She always pretended that we are okay. We had plans for the future. I supported her in her career, and she encouraged me as well. Whenever I did sense that something was off, or if we did have discussions related to couple problems that other acquaintances are having, she never mentioned that we may be having some as well. I tried my best to be by her side, to encourage her, and to support her. While I know I wasn't the perfect husband, and I know that there are things that I could have done differently, I always tried to compensate in the areas I was lacking with other things. But the cheating was not the end. No, even before I had found out about the affair, she had already made plans with the AP and started a relationship with him. By the time I confronted her about the affair, which was less than 2 weeks after it happened, they had already planned to move in together, for the AP to divorce as well, and move in the same country as us. They were talking for hours each day during the period we were still leaving together. She had other business trips planned and bought each other gifts. The thing that bothered me the most was that I wasn't even offered a chance to solve our problems, to save the family and the marriage. She stayed with me, acted like things are well up until the point that she had confirmation that her feelings for the AP were mutual, that he also wants to be with her, and it wasn't just a one-night stand, at which point she tossed me away like an old rag. What followed were the worst weeks of my life. We still had to live together another month because we needed some time to tell the child while she was actively in a long-distance relationship with the AP. We had to split our assets, we had finalized the divorce, and we had to tell our child. Now it has been 2 weeks since she moved. As for me, I am a bit better each day. I still have my ups and downs, and I have been updating this draft during my down periods, but I am better than I was 2 weeks ago, a month ago, and 2 months ago. I started therapy. I started to go to the gym more frequently. I've been going 2 times a week for the past 3 or 4 years, and now I am increasing it, and I am trying to focus on my hobbies. I still find myself in a limbo state from time to time, but slowly trying to climb out of it. The worst part is when a state of loneliness crawls over me. There are only so many friends that I can hang with. This is still new for me, and still trying to figure out a direction in the days when the child is not with me. I've read so many stories and opinions, and can't wait to see where I will be in 6 months from now.
OP, he's giving her what she wants. Emotional drama. Basically, what you're saying in your post is that she got bored. It happens quite a lot, especially to stupid women like this one. When she does come out of the affair fog and she regains her senses, she will start chit-chatting you. She wants to talk. But OP, only talk about your kid and nothing else. Don't fall for her words, no matter what. If you take her back, it will only end badly for you. And now for today's second story. My wife cheated 3 months post-wedding. Posted by Reddit user Character Parking.
So I will try to do my best to cover all nuisances here, and maybe using this more a vessel to vent. My wife, 24, and I, 26, have been together 5 years now and recently got married in October 2023. We definitely have had a pretty unconventional relationship, both entering this relationship really on a rebound stance from our high school sweethearts that ended in college, but both within a month of being single were with each other. The start of our relationship was very one-sided, in the sense it was obvious my wife was way more into me than I was into her. I enjoyed the company, and I didn't know how to be alone. I'm not proud to admit it, but that's definitely how it started. With that being said, early on our relationship, my wife, all she ever wanted was romantic moments and just to feel loved and appreciated. And I basically gaslighted her into thinking she was just overbearing and asking for a lot. Over the months, I did start to develop feelings for my wife and started to hear her wants more. While not perfect and definitely still way more her putting herself into this relationship, at 10 months of dating, my wife became pregnant with our son. I ended up finishing college, and my wife ended up dropping out college before our son was born. I was super resentful when our son was born that she did not work, and I had to be in an office 5 days a week, and felt like I was missing milestones. In hindsight, my wife was postpartum, and again, I was emotionally distant. Our fights have always been super vile, and neither of us never knew how to play fair, attacking each other's character and really throwing low blows. COVID came along, which was somewhat a blessing in disguise, as it allowed me to work fully remote and presented me with a great financial opportunity, making more money than we ever thought was possible. Our fights became less and more spread out, but when we had our blowouts, they were still blowouts. My wife even got to the point where she would be physical and hit me. Most of the time, I just took it because I knew it was just in the heat of the moment. Nonetheless, we started to have way more good moments. a lot of neutral moments, and few big blowouts. Fast forward about another 1.25-ish years later, my wife and I decide we were really good place in our relationship and financially that we wanted to have another kid. We got intentionally pregnant and had my daughter. Meanwhile, I'm continuing to grind with work and put in long days and was able to buy my family a house at 23, as I knew it was important to my wife. At this point in our relationship, we have been together 3-ish years, and we felt like we were living the dream. Stay-at-home mom, the cars, the kids, the house. Our fights still less, but would still have big blowouts, universally around the same topics about money or how I was not being the romantic partner she needed to be. At the 4-year mark, I decided it was about time to propose to my now wife. After all, we had way more good moments than bad when we first started our relationship. She was the mother of my 2 kids, and ultimately, I felt like she was my best friend and just someone I wanted to do life with. So I surprised her with a proposal across the world in Japan because our very first date was a Japanese art exhibit and just felt like it was full circle. The entire year after we got engaged, it was the same story. Mostly good, but same toxic fights where we attack each other on the most vile ways, but would make up and go on with status quo. To me, this just felt normal. And in hindsight, my wife that entire year constantly was telling me how we felt more like roommates than an engaged couple. Fast forward to October of 2023, my wife and I had a small courthouse elopement, and it truly was one of the happiest days of my life. The one thing my wife and I always have said when we have our good moments, they are so good. I look at our wedding day photos daily as a reminder of that happiness I felt. In December of 2023, we went on a honeymoon back to Japan. It definitely was not the relaxing trip we had. Imagine, it's a very go-go country. This ultimately led to fighting on our honeymoon. I was tired of having to handle everything, and my wife very clearly expressed she did not feel like she was on a honeymoon due to the lack of love and romance. My wife, even out of anger, said she wanted a divorce already, but then took it back. Again, majority of the trip was good, but had a few nasty fights on our honeymoon. The big blowout. Now in the month where my wife cheated only 3 months after getting married. I don't even remember what really started this fight, as it was something small. Nonetheless, it completely boiled over. In the height of it all, I demanded to my wife that I was over it and how I wanted a quick divorce. And now, for OP's update. Once my wife was home, things just felt awkward. I feel like I could almost see the grip strength she was carrying her phone around with. I didn't think too much of it up front, at least. As the day went on, my wife's silence was definitely something that felt even off in these moments. I went for a drive and I don't know what told me to look, but just call it a gut feeling. I noticed my wife liked all of her ex-boyfriend, the one previously mentioned photos on Insta, something she has never done. At this point, I thought maybe she was just fishing for attention, but I know my wife so well I told myself if she makes this certain excuse to what it was, I would have known she did something. Later that night, I confronted my wife about it, and nonetheless, she spit out the exact excuse that I stamped in my notes on the phone. My wife refused to let me go through her phone, something I have never done. She told me, "It's too late. It already happened. I met with him in person." I felt my life crumble in front of me just like that. Current. To this day, I don't know what actually happened. My wife swears she never met with her ex in person, but does admit to reaching out to him to let him know how awful her marriage was and how she wonders what her life would have been like if she stayed with him and how no love will compare to their first love. My wife also has admitted to a soft attempt of fishing for sexting by bringing up how she was sleeping on the bed they lost their virginities in. The ex is also in a relationship whose partner blocked me on social media, which is a giant red flag because they shouldn't even know of my existence and makes me feel like something more happened. But my wife claims she has no idea why I would be blocked. My internal dilemma. I blame myself so much, and I hate that it took this to get me to wake up a little, to realize I was not the best partner. My wife and I have been in weekly therapy sessions, something we should have been in a long time ago. I have not wavered for a minute, as I am committed to fixing my marriage and being the man she needs me to be. I am struggling because my wife hates talking about it and reverts back to blowing up on me and being vile. I can see she is trying as well, but I do not feel like it to the level I am. Multiple times when I have brought up the cheating, My wife has told me it was justified due to how I treated her, but then will later apologize and state how she doesn't mean it. I have lost all trust in her, despite our relationship lows. Cheating is something I'm not even capable of doing and never even thought she was, but now I know I have a hard time looking at her the same. My wife likes to tell me she didn't just wake up and decide to cheat, that I pushed her to do it. And trust me, I get it. I really do. Happy people don't cheat. I have a hard time rationalizing all of it. My wife seems only remorseful, really, when I show constant remorse of my actions over the past 5 years. I have expressed how I need it to feel unprompted, and this only angers her again because of how she states she even got there to begin with. In addition, with poor timing, my wife has a bachelorette trip coming up for her friend across the country that I had zero issue with her going before, but now I have expressed how uncomfortable it makes me. She has now told me numerous times that if it's between her trip and our marriage, she will choose the trip. Final. I am conflicted. Some days it feels like my wife wants to make this work as bad as I do, and others not so much. I now understand how alone my wife must have felt for all these years, and I feel like I try to be more understanding than most given that. But I am hurting so bad still, because I know I want my wife more than anything, but I also know I need to respect myself at a certain point.
OP, don't be a damn donut. If she wanted to fix what she has broken, then she would have never told you that she would choose that trip over your own marriage. OP, trust me, she is going to cheat on you again. She has lost all respect for you because of your attitude. You are still begging her to choose you even after she cheated. You have proved to her that you are very weak. She knows that even if she has sex with another man right in front of you, you will still beg her to choose you. For the sake of your children and your own self-worth, get the hell out of this toxic relationship. Viewer support is the best way for me to remain independent and continue bringing you these daily videos, which will always be here on my channels for you to watch absolutely free. So please consider subscribing to me on Rumble and on YouTube. Both will be linked in the description box down below. Thanks for listening, everyone. If you even somewhat enjoyed today's story, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and if you really like it, consider subscribing to PattSun to never miss a future upload. Stay strong.